Some of us must have read a few days back there was a tragic accident of Kuwait fire incident that took place, in which about 50 migrant workers died, 45 of whom were Indian. It really, brought again to the fore this question of what is the plight of migrant workers, outside. There is such a rosy picture, especially in the Middle East, for them to go. But what are the conditions they are living in? And sometimes we hear horror stories of some people go there, they are promised new jobs, then their passports are confiscated, they are made to work as slaves. And we really need to go to get a clear picture. And thanks be to God that we could connect with Advocate Hubert, who has worked for many years on this very subject, and he's here to create awareness. And we hope this will be something that will help us, think and pray, and also encourage others, educate other people in the right direction. So over to Advocate Hubertson. Thank you, Brother Hubertson, for coming, and now over to you for this lecture. Yeah, please go ahead.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. Happy for this wonderful opportunity which I had through brother. Brother, I forgot your name. Good name,
Who?
Pastor Abhijit.
Abhijit.
Pastor
Yeah,
Abhijit. Yeah,
yeah, no
sorry.
worries. Yeah.
Usually, I am into this into this field of working for the protection of rights of migrant workers, especially workers, Indian workers employing abroad for quite long time, for about 2 decades. And so I usually prefer the topic as human trafficking in recruitment for foreign employment. And before getting into the seminar, I would just like to explain about a case which I dealt with related to that of migrant workers. So I think it was in the start of COVID. I happened to see a message in a WhatsApp group where two nurses wrote like this: "We are suffering for one-time food, and our mobile numbers are this. Can you please help us to reach back to India?" So I looked into that message. I noticed both the mobile numbers, and then I texted them over WhatsApp, and after a long conversation between these two nurses, I came to know that there are more than nine women who have got trafficked, like in the name of event management, like youth more addicted to the social media. Yes, earlier time it was with TikTok, and then with YouTube, Facebook, and too many things. So through that, these young women, like young girls, have been trafficked. They thought they are going to find a job of event management, and when they uh, got recruited and then they arrived abroad, it is in Sharjah. Uh, they happen uh, they happen to be uh, like more or the they were forced to work in a dance bar, and then after like dance bar, it starts maybe from the evening, maybe after 6, and it may end up in the midnight. And after that, they have to uh, do the like job of like forced sex also. So what was happened, they thought that recruiters, the traffickers, they uh, made them false promises, and they were thinking that they will get a job of like monthly salary of 5 lakhs Indian rupees, and they can earn something and achieve something, or they can like live a sophisticated life. But it ended up in agony, where they landed up here in abroad. Later on, they are in a position that they cannot move out of their rooms. And the other tragedy is when the COVID started, the national lockdown was there, and they cannot use the public transportation. And anyhow, after a long conversation, I came to know that like few girls told that they were forced to have sex with 10 men in a day, and they are not even getting one-time food, and too many like issues. They were bitterly weeping to me over the WhatsApp voice messages and WhatsApp calls. So I collected all the information, their passports, the copy of their passport, then their visa, and then the persons who forced them to come to choose this option, who recruited them in India. But when I looked into that, there are too many recruiters in guise of like traffickers in guise of recruiters, but there is a main recruiting agent who seems to be the main trafficker. He was based on Bangalore, but all the recruitments happened in bus stations, mainly at the metropolitan cities like Calcutta, Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai, Mumbai, then at Bangalore. So the recruitment, everything happened at airport or in a bus station or somewhere in a place. No, none of the office is permanent, and they have only the WhatsApp number of the recruiter, and then they have only his Facebook. Facebook ID. So with that we just tracked over his Facebook messages post, and we found that he has done several recruitments and everywhere it will be a different postal address, it will be a different email address, and it will be with different mobile numbers. So all this information we collected it as an evidence, and we raised this issue uh, before the uh, like Ministry of External Affairs, before the Indian consulate at Dubai, and then before the uh, police head, before the Union Ministry of Home Affairs. Everywhere we raised this issue, and uh, when we raised this issue before the Indian mission, they just made a phone call to these young girls, and they said, now it's national lockdown. There is no possibility for public transportation. And so, if you are getting one time food, that is more than good for you. And be quiet until the lockdown is over. And we are not in a position to help you out. And later on, um, even the National Women Commission, we have sent representations to them, and they have also sent, forwarded our petitions to the Indian Mission at Dubai, and also to the Director General of Police, the State Police Head at Karnataka also. But we are not able to locate which was the exact location of this trafficker named Basavaraj, who was the main recruiter come trafficker. And later on, we are not able to see any positive response. So, and these girls are also worried whether when these things come to light, so it will make a shame for them in the public, and they are also not willing to come up directly, very boldly. So, later through an organization, through an NGO, that Tamil Nadu Domestic Workers Welfare Trust, it was headed by Sister Valamadi, and I asked her to give a press note, press release. And when the press release was made, fortunately, the and Justice Anita Sumant, Honorable Justice Anita Sumant, is a justice in the Honorable Madras High Court, and she issued notices. She took it as a suo motu PAL, public interest litigation. She made it as a suo motu PL writ petition, and she issued notice to all these Minister of External Affairs and to the Indian consulate at Dubai and everywhere for about 9 respondents, and one among them was this NGO, Tamil Nadu Domestic Workers Welfare Trust. So the moment the court issued the notice, the Indian consulate at Dubai stepped into action, and we are able to spot out only 9 Indian girls, but they were able to rescue about 12 girls, and they all are rescued on two phases. Like on the within 2 days, when the moment they received the notice from the High Court, within 2 days they rescued 5 girls, and the other second day they rescued another 7 girls, and totally 12 girls reached India safely, and litigations were going on. And then this Karnataka police took, they tracked down the things, and they were able to arrest this trafficker Basavaraj, who was arrested under Gundas Act. Later, I think he served imprisonment of about 1 year, and after that he got absconded, and again he got arrested, and another one trafficker also. Their trial is going on in Bangalore Metropolitan Court. Things are going on, and like uh, we are able to do these things, like it's legal intervention, and few more things happen. So this is one thing which is one among the case which I dealt with, and then I will step into the things which I would just want to explain about these matters. Like purpose of migration in the sense, like people go for employment, especially the majority of people choose migration for employment and for higher education, trade purposes, medical and health care. There are also illegal purposes like human trafficking, drug trafficking, gold smuggling, organ trade, and few other things are also there. And when we see into foreign employment, the role players seems to be registered recruitment agencies, unregistered recruiting agents, foreign employer, foreign placement agencies, and traffickers. So we use the term registered, which is a legal term as per the Indian context, where someone, if they want to do the business of recruitment, they have to be registered with the government, like with the Office of Protector of Immigrants or Protector General of Immigrants under the Ministry of External Affairs. Section 10 of the Immigration Act, which clearly says about that no one can do the recruitment of recruitment business, like recruitment for foreign employment, without getting registered or without receiving this license. So whoever is doing such a job without a registered certificate or license, then they become the unregistered or illegal recruiting agents. And foreign placement agencies means when they arrive a foreign country, there might be some recruitment agencies. So we call the, so in the foreign employment, the disputes will be like the phase will be pre-departure, on arrival, employment phase, and post-employment. So before departing to a foreign country, there are some disputes, and then on arrival on the airport, and then during when they got into the employment, they may face some issues, and then after employment they get some issues. So about the pre-departure, exorbitant charges for recruitment, medical test, trade tests, and all, like for exorbitant charges means like government, as per the immigration rules, rule number 25, nobody can charge more than 30,000 Indian rupees as recruitment fees, but nowadays they are paying in lakhs, 25 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs, even for mason jobs. I have seen construction workers who have paid more than 5 lakhs. Then for medical test, trade test, then fake visas, uh, then fake employment contracts, false promises. So, and then they are restrained for foreign travel when people enter into immigration counters with fake documents, fake employment contracts, or fake visas, or sometimes even with fake passport. The immigration authorities stop them. And then on arrival, sometimes some people, they don't know what they carry. Sometimes a stranger or someone, usually when we fly, we know usually in a foreign travel, 30 kg is for baggages are free. Some people used to request us, they may be an unknown people, sometimes it may be genuine request, sometimes they may be with illegal interest also. Some people used to ask us to carry, if you are having only 20 kg, why not to carry my 2 kg or 3 kg? People agree for that. Sometimes if that baggage contains, if that parcel contains any prohibited products or any banned drugs, then they will be arrested at the on arrival. Sometimes for illegal entry, then sometimes even if the migrant worker is not wrong at any point also, if the authorities suspect them on any cause, maybe due to lack of understanding of like, the language barrier or something also, they used to arrest or sometimes they used to deport them. This usually happens. And uh, then the employment phase, wages underpaid. They might have promised a salary of maybe 5,000, maybe a $500. He might be getting a salary of only $100. Then non-payment of wages. Then not like India, like in mostly usually in Gulf countries, without the health insurance card, it is very expensive to have medical treatments in the hospitals. Then unhygienic accommodation. Some accommodations you'll see people are dumped, like in a room where only 3 or 4 person can be accommodated. They used to accommodate about 10 people with bunk beds. Then long working hours. then like leisure and leave that will not be permitted to most of the domestic workers. Then bank ATM cards. Some countries have wage protection system, so they insist to pay the salaries through the bank accounts and they can withdraw to the ATM cards. In such cases, the managers used to hold bank ATM cards of these workers and they used to withdraw the money. And for the legal purpose, it is accounted, but in fact, the worker will not be receiving his salary. Then employing on a visit visa. People used to work on a visit visa. If something happens to that worker, the labor will not be able to claim his or her labor rights like entitled benefits, because when they don't have an employment visa and they work on a visit visa for an employer, the employer will abandon them. The moment something happen, any occupational accident happen, or if death, if anything unfortunate happen, they will simply abandon them. So the family will not be able to claim any of the benefits. Then contract substitution. They might be recruited for a job, maybe recruited for a job of teacher, but they might be forced to work in a desert to rear cattle or like rear camels. Then salaries also will be substituted, the designation will be substituted, then mortal remains unclaimed. So most of the times, like if employees or migrant workers on a visit visa, if they die, there'll be no one to claim their mortal remains unless if their friends or if their relatives or anybody was came to know about that issue or came to know about the death. Death. Uh, so in such case, nobody will be claiming the mortal remains and it will be remaining there unclaimed for a long period. And then confiscation of documents like passport, visa, residence ID, educational documents. This confiscation happens as two level. The employers, foreign employees, used to confiscate just to restrict their mobility, not allowing them to move out of their employment, so that they can gain like they can provide them a cheap labor and make them forcibly to work for them. Sometimes these agents, in order to extract exorbitant recruitment charges, they used to confiscate these documents. Then post employment phase also, like when their employment contract is over, they have to move back to their move back to India or to find some other job. They will not be allowing them by confiscating the passport and visa. Then end of service benefits, gratuity, they will not be paying them for the workers. And then in when the workers raise their voice to claim their benefits or claim their rights, they will be usually harassed on false absconding cases and false sub case and falsely implicated cases, which even pathetically which land up where they land up in jails and they will be there for a long time undergoing imprisonment. And violations, when we see in Indian context, rule number 25 of immigration rules, it clearly states that none of the recruiting agencies can charge not more than 30,000 Indian rupees. And then Section 10 of the Immigration Act says that no one can do the business of recruitment for foreign employment without a valid license or registration certificate, as per the Section 10 of Immigration Act. And then Section 70 of Indian Penal Code, it clearly states if anyone is recruited and is harbored or transferred from one place to another or one country to another country, then it amounts to the for the purpose of exploitation. If it is done, then it amounts to the offense of trafficking. But on cases when these matters are raised up before the local police stations of jurisdiction, the police take the side of agents where they say the workers, these agents has done a favor for them to find a job. In spite, they suppress the like a crime of trafficking, human trafficking, and they just even in FIR is registered also, Section 420 cheating alone will be mentioned in the FIR, and Section 370 usually they never used to mention. These are the violations which happens. And then legal procedures of reporting, like when people in Tamil Nadu context, like we deal more cases from Tamil Nadu. So if anybody is affected or if any agency or anyone has done a violation for a migrant worker, they can report it online. Like when they go to the police stations, usually police will not listen to them or will not be willing to receive the grievances or receive the letter petitions from them. So they can report it over online. In Tamil Nadu, they call it CCTNS, crime and criminal tracking network and systems. Through that also they can lodge a complaint. When they register it online. The complaint will be forwarded. We can upload the complaint also. We can write down a complaint. We can scan it and we can upload it on the online portal of Tamil Nadu Police. They will transfer it to the local police of jurisdiction, to the district police head, and then that will be transferred to the local police station, and they will call upon both the parties, the petitioner and also the other side, and they will conduct an investigation, preliminary inquiry. And then for in Tamil Nadu, we have a separate cell in police department. NRI, non-resident Indian cell, is there, where one superintendent of police will be based at the state level, and when they receive petitions, they will forward it to the district police head, and thus things are handled. And then the Union Ministry of External Affairs have a portal, madas.gov.in, where we can register the issues, where we should need we require the information of passport and other details, where we can enter the details of the recruitment agency, foreign employer, and if so, the Minister of Foreign External Affairs will forward the same to the Indian mission, and the Indian mission will respond it over this portal, and thus things will work out. And also they will give a grievance ID number, through that we can follow up the case. And in Tamil Nadu context, we have non-resident Commissionerate for Rehabilitation and Welfare of Non-Resident Tamils, where they will also forward the same to the Indian mission and other concerned authorities, including police. And we in Tamil Nadu, we have Mudalvar in Mugavari department, which is just helpline. It's online portal where we can also log on and we can submit the grievances. And then CP Grants portal, it is managed by the central union government, which is like cpgrams.gov.in. It's a centralized, it's a centralized program to register grievances for any department, not only these NRI related issues, any department, any ministry within India, any issues connected, any grievance connected to are connected, or whichever comes under the respective ministries, that can be chosen, and we can prefer it, and we can lodge the grievances there. That will also be forwarded up to the peripheral level. They will forward it to the jurisdictional officer and department, and they will take action over it. And legal procedures in and like reporting, when you can also send representations to the Minister for External Affairs, then to the Foreign Secretary, who is the Secretary for the External Affairs Ministry, and we can also report it to the Protector General of Immigrants, POE. Especially, we have two types of passports, ECR and ECNR, immigration check record, which is used for the people who have not passed their matriculation, Artan standard. So such kind of people, when they move for employment, they have to get immigration cleared from the Office of Protector General of Immigrants, or with the jurisdictional protector of Office of Protector of Immigrants. Sorry. So in that office, after clearing the immigration with this office, PG or POE, then only they can move to the immigration counter at the airport. And for others, it's okay. It's ECNR. No immigration check is required. For some countries, it is required. It is related to the Gulf countries, and for certain jobs, maybe low skilled laborers like domestic workers, construction workers, and then also for some countries, for nurses also it is required. And we can report to the Embassy of India, High Commission of India, or Consul General of India, Deputy High Commission of India in the respective foreign countries. And then other than that, courts and commissions, like if someone is approaching the police of jurisdiction to raise a complaint against a recruiting agent or a trafficker, whatever, and if they are not entertaining their complaints, they can send a complaint over. They can send a complaint towards the inspector of police over registered post. After that, they have to wait for the response of the inspector of police for 2 weeks, and then they can send another appeal before the district police head, maybe the superintendent of police or commissioner of police. And after that, they can, if the police is still not responding, then they can file a petition before the jurisdictional judicial magistrate court, and they can request the court praying to give a direction to the police to register the FIR. In such a case, when the court passes an order to the jurisdictional police, they will register the FIR and proceed with the investigation. If authorities, like maybe authorities with the Indian Embassy, or like any other authorities with the like Ministry of External Affairs, are not responding, they can move to the High Court or to the Supreme Court and file a writ petition, and they can seek a direction towards the authorities to act upon the thing, to consider the representation and pass orders accordingly. Even there is a provision of letter petition where people can also send letter petitions or post to the Supreme Court, so that they may, and it should be of public interest, and they may also consider the case and take up the case for investigation. And the matters can also be presented before National Human Rights Commission. And once the commission goes through this representation, and if they are satisfied with the contents, they may forward it to they may issue a notice to the Indian mission or to the secretary or foreign secretary, and they will call them for an action taken report. And even National Commission for Women also step into things where they have an NRI cell. Especially they deal with the rights of women alone. So if a migrant worker is a woman, they can also approach the National Commission for Women by filing a petition with their NRI cell. And there are also National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. If we feel that any child, if a right of a child is affected, and all because of like if a child is and if the child belongs to a like son or daughter or anyway connected to the migrant worker, then that matters also can be taken up before the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, where they also issue notice to the competent authorities concerned. So this is what we deal with, and there are a lot of matters when we look into the things. We have a lot of issues about these migrant workers, but I just summarize these things when summarize the issues. And one thing is like language is one of the barrier, and then legal expenses when they are in a foreign country. Uh, when they are in a foreign country, it is very expensive to hire a lawyer, and things are like that. Like, and then language barrier is there, but but more or less the manpower of the Indian embassies is also very less, and like-minded people, people who are socially concerned, maybe irrespective of religion, irrespective of linguistic background, people from various states in India. And I feel that especially Kerala people are more in number everywhere in the foreign countries, and they also contribute much. Many social workers, people with social concern working over there, come forward to people who are struggling. They're like migrant workers struggling with various issues. But like more of the few cases, it is very horrible to see cases where people have no access to communication. Some people will be languishing in jails. Even in India, we can find migrant workers. When the embassies will not come forward to prove their nationality, they will be treated as stateless person, and they will maybe the without passport case, the punishment will be for an year. But when the embassies are not willing to come forward to prove their nationality, or even not only the embassies, when the families of these migrant workers were not able to establish their nationality, to prove it before the courts or before the authorities, then they have to languish in jails for several years together. So these are things happening. Like I can say a lot of stories about these things, but anyhow, I summarize this, and the things are in such a way where we can contribute much for these people. And in other way also, we used to assist the member of legislative assemblies, member of parliaments to raise these issues, and also we insist them to like plug the gaps. Like there are a lot of legal gaps. We just request them to make amendments and also to bring welfare schemes. So in such a way, we work at various levels to tackle this issue. But the major thing which I found out is like legal lack now, where these kind of like exploitations which happens are more or less like one of the few cases which I deal is more usually human trafficking in recruitment for foreign employment, which is for cheap labor and other things, exploitation of funds from the migrant workers and their families. Yeah.
So, are you done with your presentation?
Yeah, brother, I have done with
Yeah,
my
okay.
presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. So, Advocate Hubertson is the Executive Director of Council for Protection of Human Rights, and so he speaks from a position of years of experience and engagement in these matters. Now, it's very important that we are aware of what's behind the scenes. The dangers that await, the snares, traps, and that's why we have organized this session. Now, friends, we'll be going into a time of Q&A, and we just want to